All right, hello and welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Guys, we are going to talk the Democrat California or Los Angeles wildfires with a friend of mine. I'll introduce him in just a sec. We'll talk about the Hegseth confirmation, some of the things that you may have been hearing. We're also going to talk a little bit about culture. There's been a cultural shift. You have more people that are now all of a sudden either excited or willing to come out for Trump. What does that say about the culture? What does that say about politics? I want to talk about all of that and more with my friend David Pollack of the David Pollack Show. David, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, man. Good to see you.
Hey, it is my pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. You know, I'm a big fan of yours, has been a big fan of yours for years. And to be able to become friends with you and then share a show with you today, it's an honor. So thank you.
Absolutely. So David Pollack, listen, he used to be a colleague of mine at Salem. You can find him all over on X, hosting X Spaces with some big names, some very fun shows, very informative shows. He is an attorney. He's also worked on campaigns. Obviously, he has his own show, David Pollack Show. And I just wanted to chop some of the news up with him. To get a second voice in on this. And first off, I think I'd like to start, if you don't mind, David, I'd like to start with the Los Angeles wildfires, or what I'm calling the Democrat Los Angeles wildfires, because I believe that it's very important that we frame these issues properly, if you will. I think just frame the left for who they are. I mean, the reason why those wildfires are popping up, obviously, you can't prevent wildfires in California. I'm born and raised. But there are things that you can do to prevent the spread of these wildfires, and the Democrats have not been doing them, and they're playing the blame game with each other, and all of them are liars. I'm talking about the governor. I'm talking about the mayor. I'm talking about even the LA fire chief that seems to be getting off the hook, but we're not going to let her off the hook here. So first off, let's do this. Let's play a video. I want to get David Pollack's response to that video. Make sure you follow him on X, David Pollack USA. You spell Pollack Pollack. And if I could get this lighting up, that would be nice so I can actually see what I'm looking at. One of the things, David, you don't understand this as a young man, but I'm seeing that my vision is slowly slipping away faster than I'd like or imagine. But let's go to video clip number 20. Now, the Governor Gavin Newsom, the king of disinformation, said at one point in time that he did not prioritize fish or the Delta smelt over the people of California, and he's right. I guess he didn't. In this clip, he prioritizes salmon over the people of California. So anyway, let's play video clip number 20. Por favor, Gabe, and I want to get David Pollack's response.
Like a real surgeon, real life version.
What happens if you eat a mermaid? That little guy is a three-spined stickleback. They're really abundant bycatch. Hang on, what is it?
We're talking about restoration. We're talking about partnership. We're talking about restoring old salmon runs. We're talking about restoring cultures and economies. We're talking about restoring trust in communities and connecting us back to our proud past. And it's all around making sure that we bring back that original habitat. We bring back sort of the natural ecosystems. And again, we partner with the tribes that understand this better than anybody else.
So they got the old salmon runs down pat, David, but they don't have the reservoirs filled. Your take.
Right. Well, look, I'm gonna say something controversial. I think these fires are directly related to climate change. And by that, I mean, it's because of their obsession with climate change that they've put the lives of the people in California at risk. It's the smelt are more important than the people. The salmon runs are more important than the people. They didn't even want to use salt water. When the fire hydrants and the reservoirs were empty, they have a whole ocean next door, right? They don't want to use the salt water. Now, they tell people they don't want to use the salt water because, it's corrosive to our equipment. The reason why they didn't want to use salt water is because it causes ecological harm. They didn't want to harm the environment by using the natural body of water right off the burning coast. These people prioritize their ideology over human lives every single day, and this is just another example.
Well, you know what, and it's such a great point, and frankly, let's pretend like man-made climate change is a real thing. Now, I do believe that the climate warms. I believe that the climate cools. I do believe that that's a natural process. I believe that God, when he created us, he figured out, hey, you know what? I'm going to I'm going to help these humans that I've created exist in this ecosystem, that I've created. It's all going to work together. It's all going to be fine. I'm not saying we shouldn't be wise stewards of our planet. Of course we should. But these people, even when they lie and say this is about climate change, this isn't about the fact that we've defunded the fire department. This isn't about the fact that we don't clean up the brush anymore. We don't have we don't burn some of the brush like we need to or like we used to, and we don't fill our reservoirs. If it is climate change, and they know that, it seems to me that they would be better prepared than they are, David. I mean, it doesn't seem to me like that's a good excuse. If you know that the Earth is going to warm up 1 degree or 1/10 of 1 degree in 100 years, okay, but if it's going to warm, I would assume you would get prepared for that. So maybe you would use the process of desalination for the salt water just to be prepared. I don't know, just in case. That's just me.
Well, but that's exactly right. So if this is climate change and they are worried about climate change, then you're right. Why aren't they prepared for it? It's like, California gets earthquakes. They prepare for it. California gets wildfires, especially enhanced by the Santa Ana winds. But you know what? They're not prepared for it. So you can blame climate change all you want. What it is, we need a culture change, because Gavin Newsom has left that state vulnerable to the tremendous loss of property and life. Mayor Bass has left LA vulnerable to the tremendous loss of property and life. Exactly like you mentioned, the hiring practices, the defunding practices. I mean, they have put their ideology ahead of public safety, and this is a perfect example of it. More so than that, it's these reckless criminal justice policies in that state that's also led to some of the behaviors that we've witnessed too. Yes, there has been looting in the neighborhoods that are being evacuated. People are just waiting to break into the home as the people flee for their lives. You've seen some instances of arson, people intentionally setting fires. I mean, this is completely California run amok. And eventually the people in that state are going to have to make a decision. Do they want to keep their feel-good feelings and keep voting for the Democrats to keep putting them in these terrible positions? Or are they going to vote for change once and for all? I see there's a new recall effort being mounted against Gavin Newsom. We'll see if this one works. But they need a wholesale leadership change in California and go back to what that state usually was. You said you're from California. It used to be a beautiful state. They had Republican governors. Now look at it.
It's a total disaster. And beyond just getting rid of the leadership, which is a must, there is a recall effort for Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. Another thing that they have to change that I've talked about is their jungle primary system. If the two top contenders go on to run against each other, and typically, David, it's two lefties running against each other, as opposed to a Republican and Democrat, or a Democrat libertarian, or what have you. So basically, it's become a one-party state because of that jungle primary system. So I'm urging the people of California to be sure and get rid of the jungle primary system. And wherever you are, if you're in a blue city or a blue state, or if you even have rhinos that are trying to implement ranked choice voting, make sure you don't stand for that as well. There's a video clip that I'd like to play for you. I don't think we have enough time in this block, so I think I will come back to it, but I will prepare you for it. And that is what Representative Maxine Waters had to say to Andrew Cuomo on his show, News Nation. She has a different theory as to why California is experiencing wildfires. But I do think I want to go to this, because CNN was shocked that other people aren't down with the global warming argument. Gabe, if we could, let's go to clip number 14, por favor.
I don't think Americans are making this connection. And the way we can see this in right here and now, take a look at the monthly change in Google searches. Look at the searches for wildfire, up 2,400%. My goodness gracious. This is the most amount of people searching for wildfires ever, going back since Google Trends began back in 2004. But look at climate change. Look at the change. It doesn't go hand in hand with wildfires. It's actually down. It's down 9%. And I also looked in California. There has been no increase in the number of searches for climate change. So the bottom line is this. Americans are definitely interested in learning about these wildfires. They're interested in following the news about the wildfires, but they are not making that connection with climate change. That's the bottom line here.
That's
Mr.
a
Berman.
really key metric you're looking at there, the connection. Overall,
Okay, let's go ahead and pause this for now because I want to get David's take on this. He says that Harry Anton says that Americans aren't making the connection between climate change and the wildfires. I disagree, David. I think Americans are just done with the BS.
Well, look, and we've been battling this since I was a child. I mean, the whole global warming was the trend from the 80s and the 90s. The Earth is getting warmer. You remember Al Gore? We're all going to be, the Earth is supposed to be over by now. And then when they realized that it wasn't getting hot enough, now it was not global warming. It's really climate change is what we're concerned about. Yes, it's cold this year, but it's colder than usual. Yes, it's hot this year. And look how bad the storms are getting. Even the fires are getting worse. And then this is what they have to do to constantly prop up this false narrative. And you know what? When things are hunky-dory, sure, let's go and look at climate change and start to find something to really get passionate about.
David, let's do this.
But in reality,
for the sake of the break, let's hold it right there. We'll be right back with David Pollack. All right, you guys stay tuned. Hey, Carl Jackson here for My Pillow, and My Pillow is excited to announce that they still have their Christmas extravaganza going. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98, but they won't last long, so get them while you can. They're famous My Slippers. These haven't been on sale for over a year. They're regularly priced at $119.98, but for a limited time only, they're $59.98, and their 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities. They're only $29.98. With hundreds of My Pillow products, there's something for everyone. From bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, so much more. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-858-0263 and be sure to use promo code Carl to save on all My Pillow products. That's promo code Carl. Flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. 6-piece towel sets for as low as $29.98. And that's not all. They're even extending their 60-day money-back guarantee all the way through March 1st of this year. Plus, all orders $75 or more ship absolutely free. MyPillow.com, promo code Carl. Welcome back to the Carl Jackson Show. Again, I am joined by my guest and friend, David Pollack of the David Pollack Show. You can find him on X doing great things at David Pollack Show. Oh, actually, at David Pollack USA, Pollack. All right, so make sure you check him out. He's an attorney. He's very good at what he does. I mean, obviously, he was an attorney. He brings that mentality, that fight, that fervor to politics, and now he's got his own show doing his own thing. Growing on X, so at David Pollack USA. He's also worked on campaigns before, so he has that experience, and he's here with me to talk about some of the big headlines of the week. We talked about Gavin Newsom. We played right before we went to the break this video clip of Harry Anton on CNN, and basically they were like, they're shocked. They're in shock at CNN. That people aren't buying the climate change nonsense. I want to play another video for you, David, and get your take on this. This is the last particular video that I'll play on this particular topic when it comes to the Democrat LA wildfires. But this is video clip number 1. This is the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, at it again. Video clip number 1, por favor, Gabe.
I want to know the answers. So I'm the governor of California. I want to know the answer. I've got that question. I can't tell you about how many people, what happened. My own team saying what happened. And I want to get the answers. And I'll be candid with you, I wasn't getting straight answers.
Yeah.
I watched the press conference. I met with some of those leaders. We had my team start talking to local leaders, saying what's going on. Our state.
And you weren't getting straight answers from
I was getting
leaders.
different answers. When you start getting different answers, then I'm not getting the actual story. And they're assessing it. And I get that as well. You have to have a little bit of grace, back to the point. We're in this emergency environment and everything else. So I just want to determine the facts. But no one has any patience anymore. In this weaponized, back to the grievance.
Cut that clip. I want to get David's take on this. And actually, it was the wrong clip, not the one that I wanted to play. But I do want to get his take on this because this is the California governor. He doesn't know what the heck is going on, David. Do you believe him? He wants to get answers.
Yeah, look, this is why I love Trump so much. And this is why so many people hate Trump. Because he's authentic. And when he doesn't know something, he says he doesn't know something. When he knows something, he says he knows something. He is authentic. And when people see the authenticity of Donald Trump and you compare it to a polished, lying politician like Gavin Newsom, it's so transparent how much these people lie. And you can tell right there. I mean, seriously, you don't know what's going on. People are dying. Fires are burning everywhere, largely uncontrolled at the time he's making this statement. And he just doesn't know
Well,
what's
it's a
going
city
on. Well,
issue,
whose
David.
fault is
It's
that?
not a state issue. It's a city issue.
Oh, yeah, right. He has no responsibility for state environmental policy that he was just bragging about on that clip earlier about saving the salmon. So it's so great that the buck's supposed to stop with them. They always say that, by the way, the Democrats. Oh, the buck stops with me, but it's not my fault. And look, we'll see what the voters in this recall effort think about it being his fault. But no, I don't buy anything he's saying. I don't think anybody does. Too nice of hair. His hair is too nice to tell the truth.
That is the truth. If their hair is too nice and their teeth are perfectly white, all right. And then
lying.
someone sent a message to me, David. They said, have you noticed with every clip, this guy is in a different name brand cap, sweater. He's like he's making a stop in between stops to go shopping so he can make sure he looks good for the next appearance. I won't play the next video, but I do want to get your take on it. I'll just share a bit of it with you. But basically, he was questioned by a reporter at one point, and what was he? He was talking about. He was talking about California or Los Angeles 2.0, all of these things that he envisioned, all of these politicians that would be involved, these leaders of the community, these leaders of business and industry that would be involved, all of these departments that he was going to get involved to build up or rebuild Los Angeles, the Pacific Palisades area, and wherever the fire continues to burn, Altadena and the like. And I'm sitting there thinking, David, when I heard, and for the sake of time, we won't play it. But what was so astonishing to me is when he talked about all these leaders that he was going to get, the one thing that he never mentioned was the homeowner. I mean, I don't think he ran these plans by the homeowners that have had to evacuate their homes or obviously had to flee from their homes if they were built down. And it reminds me of Agenda 11, I believe it is, on the UN Agenda 2030, where basically they want to build these communities, pack people in, make sure that people are only able to bike a certain amount, in a small area, keep them confined so that they can control them essentially. And what was astonishing about that is just how freely he was able to speak when he was talking about it, but he hadn't addressed the homeowners.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't really care, right, about the homeowners, and nobody believes they do. I agree with exactly what you're saying. They use this as an opportunity to re-engineer communities to fit more in their ideas of what a community should look like. You see this in by the way, not just in LA, you see this in a lot of towns across America, these efforts to sort of rebuild these communities, the new comp plans, the new zoning maps. They're all to promote density, centralized density, to take people out of what they call suburban sprawl. What they don't want Republicans living in single family homes. What they want is Democrats living in high density housing. And this is what they're convincing. And they have these organizations that go around and convince everybody that this is in the city's best interest. But regardless, the thing is, as little as Gavin Newsom probably actually cares about the property of the people in California, it's amazing how quickly people want to talk about rebuilding California when there's still people in North Carolina living in tents. So if you want to talk about the perfect example of elitism, look at the rich people who lost their mansions in California. And I do feel bad for them. But when rich people lose mansions in California, everybody wants to rebuild immediately. Meanwhile, people are still living, and some people dying in tents in North Carolina. And it shows you really where Democrats' priorities are. It's about taking care of their own. They don't care about anybody they disagree with. And even when they are taking care of their own, they're taking care of their own according to their own ideology. I mean, this is what they vote for.
Yeah, you know what? And it's a great point. And I made the point as well that both the North Carolinians that suffered through the storms, I think they were storms by the time that they hit, of Milton and Helene in the Appalachian Mountains, and the victims of the Democrat wildfires in Los Angeles, they both essentially were victims of Agenda 2030, but for different reasons. The North Carolinians, even though their governor does, don't buy into this nonsense. They don't believe the left. They don't vote for the left, at least not in that area. They were Trump supporters, so they're going to get looked over, whereas the people in LA, more than likely, at least in the Pacific Palisades, although at least 20% of the people there are conservative, then you have Altadena, Pasadena areas where you will get some more conservatives, quite frankly. But typically those people are going to vote Democrat So obviously they're going to take priority over the people of North Carolina. It's sad but true, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. I want to move on, and I want to get your take. Obviously, we only have 3.5 minutes left. I'm going to have to bring you back because we're just going to have to do a clipped show of some of these nominees that are up this week. I think that'll be fun to do with you. But just real quick on Pete Hegseth. Don't have time to play video right now. We'll have to do that at a later time. But Pete Hegseth is experiencing the clown show that is Washington, D.C. in the Senate confirmation hearings. But I don't think Republicans are going to give in this time. I think they've learned their lesson. Do you think Pete Hegseth is going to be confirmed as the Secretary of Defense?
Well, Joni Ernst just came out probably about 2 hours ago and said that she's a yes on Hegseth. And I know that was a question before. It looks like he's going to have the votes, and rightfully so. Look, this is Trump's nominee. They already got rid of Gates, and now they were going after Hegseth. Trump won not only the popular vote, but he also won the Electoral College, which is the way we elect presidents in this country, even though Democrats hate it. And so he gets to pick his cabinet. He wants Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth has the experience, and we can't really just take these Democrat sniping operations and even the establishment Republican sniping operations to take out people that they don't want in Trump's cabinet. It's not their cabinet. Advise and consent. If advise and consent, not veto and overrule. So Pete Hegseth has the experience. Today he did an amazing job laying out his plan. He showed his experience. He showed his competence to do the job way better than Lloyd Austin. And so at the end of the day, I really do think he did what he had to do today to get that confirmation. I think that it probably will pass, maybe on a party line. I think we'll see maybe 1 or 2 Democrat senators get behind him. But I do think Pete Hegseth will eventually become the Secretary of Defense, and I think he's going to be a good one.
I do believe that too, and I think he is eminently more qualified than the people that allow for the Russia to invade Ukraine, than for spy balloons to traverse across the United States. For those, the drones that were over New Jersey, Lord knows what they are. We saw Iran attack Israel with all of their proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Biden administration that continued to fund the leading state sponsor of terror. So these people have no room to talk. I mean, Milley, Lloyd Austin, Afghanistan. Frankly, these people should be court-martialed. Less than a minute left. Speaking of David Pollack, my friend David, check out the David Pollack Show. Find him on X, David Pollack USA. Real quickly, we got about 40 seconds here, David. There seems to be a turn of cultural people, entertainers that are willing to give Trump a try. Carrie Underwood is going to be singing at his inauguration. I think that's a huge deal. You've seen Mark Zuckerberg with his about face. Don't know how real it is, but I'll take it for now. Your take, 30 seconds.
Look, I'll give you in 15. Trump didn't just win. America won. The divisive policies of the left are failing, and people are ready to come together, and they're starting to really point the finger where it belongs, and that's the Democrats who are dividing the nation. Carrie Underwood, Mark Zuckerberg, everybody sees it. You're not seeing the protests in the street. Really, we're going to have a unified America finally, and if the Democrats allow us to, and I think Trump's going to bring the country together.
I think you're right, and I think the Democrats are going to try to mess things up. I just think they're going to fail this time. David Pollack, find him at David Pollack Show. Thank you.